Have you ever found yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a reply that never comes? That glowing screen in a dark room, the three little dots that appear and then vanish, leaving you in a state of anxious silence. It's a uniquely modern form of torture, isn't it? We immediately jump to the worst conclusion: they've lost interest. But what if I told you the reason they stopped texting is far more complex than a simple lack of attraction? Today, we are diving deep into the psychology of silence, exploring why that vibrant conversation suddenly went quiet, and what it reveals about modern communication and our own emotional needs. Let's reframe how we think about texting. We see it as a tool for connection, but it's often used as a tool for emotional regulation. Think about it. When you're feeling lonely, bored, or anxious, what's the first thing you do? You reach for your phone. You send a text. That little buzz of a reply gives you a hit of validation, a momentary relief from your own uncomfortable feelings. In the beginning, this works beautifully. Both of you are using each other to regulate your emotions, creating a cycle of mutual validation. It feels exciting, like you've found someone who just gets it. But this isn't sustainable. It's like using a painkiller for a chronic illness. It masks the symptoms but doesn't address the root cause of the discomfort. When someone is texting you constantly, it's not always a sign of deep interest. It might be a sign that they're using you to soothe their own emotional state. And when they suddenly go quiet, it might not be about you at all, but because they've found another way to manage those feelings, or they've simply run out of the emotional energy required to keep up the charade. This brings us to the dopamine trap. In the early stages of getting to know someone, every text is a jolt of excitement. It's new, it's mysterious, it's full of potential. Our brains release dopamine, the pleasure chemical, making us crave more. This is the novelty phase. We are high on the possibility of what this connection could be. But dopamine is a fickle friend. The brain can't maintain that level of excitement forever. As the novelty wears off, the brain requires a bigger and bigger stimulus to get the same hit. The conversation shifts from exciting discovery to routine check-ins. This is where emotional saturation happens. The constant back and forth, once a source of pleasure, now starts to feel like a chore. The well of interesting things to say runs dry. The initial dopamine rush is replaced by a sense of pressure. It's not that they don't like you anymore, it's that the neurological reward system has recalibrated. The thrill is gone, and what's left is a conversation that feels more like an obligation than a genuine desire to connect. This leads us directly to the pressure of imbalance. A healthy connection is built on a foundation of mutual desire, not obligation. But when one person is consistently initiating, carrying the conversational load, or seeking validation, the dynamic shifts. What started as a fun, two-way street becomes a one-way demand for attention. The person on the receiving end starts to feel a sense of pressure. Each notification isn't a pleasant surprise anymore. It's a reminder of an unspoken responsibility to reply, to perform, to soothe. The connection starts to feel like a job, and nobody wants a second job they didn't sign up for. They might genuinely like you, but the feeling of being constantly needed or pulled on is exhausting. So, they pull back. They create distance not to be cruel, but to regain their own sense of autonomy. The silence is a protective mechanism, a way of saying, I can't carry this for you anymore. It's a desperate attempt to rebalance a dynamic that has become dangerously lopsided. Let's talk about power, because whether we like it or not, it plays a huge role in our interactions. This is the principle of asymmetrical availability. In simple terms, the person who is less available, who needs the interaction less, holds more power. Think of it as a behavioral economy. Your time, your attention, your emotional energy, these are your currencies. If you are always available, always ready to reply within seconds, you are essentially devaluing your own currency. You're signaling that your time isn't as precious, that you don't have other things filling your life. The other person, consciously or not, perceives this. Their slower replies and periods of silence aren't just about being busy, they are establishing a power dynamic. They are demonstrating that their time and attention are scarce resources, which, paradoxically, makes them seem more valuable. When you stop chasing and start focusing on your own life, you reclaim that power. You become less available, and suddenly, your currency is worth more. It's not about playing games, it's about understanding the unspoken rules of social value. Another major reason for the fade-out is the death of intrigue. In our quest to build intimacy quickly, we often make a fatal mistake. We over-explain and we are constantly accessible. We text them good morning, good night, what we had for lunch, and a minute-by-minute replay of our day. We leave no room for mystery, no space for them to wonder about us. Humans are wired to be curious. We are drawn to puzzles, to things we don't fully understand. When you lay everything out on the table from day one, you remove the incentive for them to explore. There's nothing left to discover. Think of it like a movie trailer that shows the entire plot. Why would you pay to see the film? Constant accessibility sends the same message. If they know you're always there, always waiting by the phone, the urgency to connect disappears. The silence, then, isn't a rejection of you, but a natural consequence of the intrigue having vanished. To keep a connection alive, you must leave some things unsaid. You have to be a story they want to keep reading, not a book that's already been finished. This constant communication also creates a huge pressure to perform. We live in an age of curated authenticity. Every text is a mini performance. We reread, edit, and try to craft the perfect, witty, or charming message. We are not just communicating, we are trying to manage the other person's perception of us. This is emotionally draining. We retrying so hard to be the person we think they want us to be that we lose touch with who we actually are. The conversation becomes a script, and we are actors growing tired of our roles. The person on the other end feels this too. The interaction, instead of feeling natural and effortless, feels forced and calculated. When someone stops texting, it can be a sign of performance fatigue. They are tired of the act. They are craving authenticity, both from themselves and from you. They are stepping away from the stage because the emotional cost of the performance has become too high. They don't want a perfectly crafted message, they want a real connection, and the pressure of the text-based performance was preventing that from ever happening. So, where does this leave us? Staring at a silent phone, feeling rejected and confused? No. This is where we find the path to stability. The key is not to figure out the perfect texting strategy to win them back. The key is to stop seeing their silence as a reflection of your worth. It's about emotional grounding. It's about building a life so full, so interesting, and so satisfying that one person's texting habits have very little power over your emotional state. This is about self-respect. It's about understanding that you are the source of your own validation. When you stop using texting as a tool to regulate your anxiety and instead use it as a simple tool to make plans, the entire dynamic changes. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop performing and start being. Their silence is no longer a painful void, but simply an absence of a notification. It gives you space. Space to focus on your goals, your hobbies, your friends. Space to become the person you're meant to be, not the person you think someone else wants. And ironically, that is the most attractive quality of all. True connection isn't found in a frantic back and forth of texts. It's found when two whole, emotionally stable people choose to share their lives, not when they use each other to fill a void. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of our modern lives. See you in the next one.